Today's review of My Dinner with Andre is going to be a little bit shorter than usual because really only one thing happens in it. Two guys just sit at a dinner table and talk about things. But I feel like it's one that should be reviewed because of just how good it is and my own personal connections with it. I own My Dinner with Andre on both Criterion DVD and my grandfather's VHS tape. Now it's kind of weird that a movie that takes place just at a dinner table would really necessitate buying a DVD of it and actually going to the theaters and paying your hard-earned money to go see it on the big screen. But it was technically worth it at the time. My connection with My Dinner with Andre is that my grandfather either knew. Okay, the movie stars Wallace Shawn and Andre Gregory. Wallace Shawn, who is very well known, best known for doing The Princess Bride and Young Sheldon. My grandfather knew either just Wallace, just Andre, or both of them because because my grandfather was very picky with movies that he owned, things that came out after the year 1960. My grandfather was extremely picky with, and he actually had this VHS copy of My Dinner with Andre, and I was kind of surprised by it. So I figured, okay, the only possible way that he has My Dinner with Andre would be as if he actually knew the guys in it. He must know either Wallace or Andre, or maybe both of them. Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away in 2005, and both Wallace and Andre know tons of people. So if they don't remember my grandfather, then that's fine. I just wish that I got to ask my grandfather himself back in like before he passed away. But anyway, let's move on to the movie as a whole. The movie's about Wallace. Both guys play themselves, like fictionalized versions of themselves. So Wallace is a playwright who is living in New York City, and he gets an invitation to dinner by an old friend of his named Andre Gregory. They haven't seen each other in a long time, and Wallace didn't even know that they were how close he was to Andre. But they go to a restaurant together, and they have dinner. They just sit at a dinner table for shade under 2 hours, and they just talk about life. Like they both guys are involved in theater, and that they talk about all this theater stuff. But as the conversations progress, you realize that both Wallace and Andre are kind of different spectrums of each other. Wallace is more of a realist. He believes in just waking up in the mornings and earning money, and that way you can just go home and just have a cozy night and just just chill, you know. But Andre is more. He's more of one that he's been around all over the world doing stuff. Andre is more of a dreamer, I guess you could say. He's one that wants to do more with his life and not really be confined to much of a world that Wallace is. But the way that they talk, even though it just takes place at a little dinner table talking to each other, they're able to really paint fascinating pictures in your mind about things with such great detail about certain things, and the poignancy and the wisdom of what they say can sometimes be life changing. So, if you don't want to see My Dinner with Andre, then just go on YouTube and just type in my Dinner with Andre. You'll see a bunch of different clips of it, and of course, the really popular ones are the best ones, the ones that really where they talk about the best things. Like they talk about the meaning of life and things along that line. Not really the meaning of life they talk about, but the philosophy and the wisdom that they do mention is really good stuff, and I really like that about it. But the thing with My Dinner with Andre is it's really just two people at a dinner table, and the cameras they move from just three different spots. Like it cuts from one shot to another shot to another shot, so it just cuts between three shots, and it just go. They just babble about good things nonetheless. But I was just I don't know. I was just hoping that the movie would really hold me in its grasp a little bit better. I'm not saying that I'm an impatient person or anything, but I would have preferred if the movie was took place more than just at the dinner table. I know that's called My Dinner with Andre. It's a highly unique film, but if Wallace and Andre went out and they, if it was more like Before Sunrise, like that Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy movie, if it was more like that, like it actually had both Wallace and Andre um, going out to different places, or just so that we end up seeing more things, I thought that it would have been a little bit of a better experience. And there isn't really much of a change between either guy. Like they both really stay the same. The chemistry isn't fully there. Like they end up just I mean, like you can see like a little bit of a change in Wallace, but it's just because he's listened to Andre, and he really um, he doesn't really I would prefer a bigger change for both of them, like bigger sorts of chemistry. But the way that it is right now, the what they talk about and how they talk about it, so poignant, so philosophical, so detailed. I'm giving My Dinner with Andre 3.5 stars out of 4.